Welcome to the Warning Track Power Hour. I am Dr. Andrew Scaff. He is Dr. Michael Worman, Esquire. On today's show, we will complete our four-part NFL quarterback uh, cycle. We'll be checking in on the quarterbacks of the AFC and NFC East divisions. We'll be talking about each quarterback from each team in those two divisions before the start of the 2025 season. We'll also be talking about the Kansas City Royals, who have not been playing all that well over the last couple of days, but maybe are trying to dig their way out. I guess we'll find out here, maybe even before this episode is over, about the next game. But we'll kick off today with the final rosters of the Kansas City Chiefs in the third preseason game. Mike, the Royals did drop all three preseason games, but then
I mean,
the
The
roster,
Chiefs. You're
thanks
thinking
to
of
the
the
Chiefs.
you have the
I'm
Royals in your mind.
Yes,
Since
exactly.
they're
Yeah,
since they're playing right now and looks like they're
yeah,
perhaps winning a game that they were losing. But yeah, the
right.
Chiefs lost all
The
three of their
Chiefs
preseason games.
throughout their final playoff game, or for Chiefs, yeah, their final preseason game. Uh, are you worried about the 0-3 preseason as it being like a harbinger for the season, or is it meaningless because it's just the preseason?
I think it's mostly meaningless. It also I think it looks good that the Chiefs starters have looked good each game that they've played, especially the ones with Mahomes. Mahomes hasn't only played the first and third preseason game, but the Chiefs were just dominating the Bears when Mahomes was playing and when the first team defense was playing. So I think they were up 17-0 at one point, 17-3 at least. And they were moving the ball pretty much at will. So I think that bodes well. The back, again, if there's some injuries, it's like maybe the back half of the roster, or maybe these are mostly the players that were cut. So it's hard to say. Those are the ones who gave up the points. So and it was, a game I'm sure the Chiefs didn't really care about winning. It's one of those things, I think, they never want to run up the score, even in a preseason game, probably. So we have maybe the Andy Reid gentlemanly home stretch beginning in the second quarter or something like that, where they aren't really looking to do a whole lot. We want to get Minshew some reps and things like that, but um, again, they don't really care so much. So, and I think, and I guess it looks better that the Bears beat the Bills. Was it 38-0 or something like that in the preseason last week? So at least the Chiefs looked
Right.
a little better than that.
True.
So yeah, the Chiefs. I don't know. I think they build off of the good work that the starters did, and they kind of forget about the rest. Uh, and I think we hopefully that'll bode well for the future. But yeah, you never want to really just go lose any game, but preseason football games really are kind of meaningless.
Yeah. Well, especially when like most of the players that you expect to see on the team are all on the sideline and talking to doing interviews on the sideline, stuff like that by the time the game is like being decided right in the second half. So yeah. Now they have reached the final roster decisions. 53-man roster is set. There are a couple minor surprises, I guess, like Bailey Zappi's being released. Carson Steele was
Hmm.
out. Maybe Mike Cannell also. And they're keeping eight wide receivers.
And only
I don't know
three
what
tight ends. Yeah.
any of that. Did you see was being like the most surprising thing or interesting at all about that, or is it just you don't care? It's time for the season to start. So
I think it's a little interesting. Well, the Chief they kept eight wide receivers. Usually they only keep six, maybe seven. Uh,
yeah,
they ended up keeping Jason Brownlee, which was I think he was an undrafted free agent this year. He did catch a touchdown in the first preseason game,
right.
but he
It was
seems like a
great
person.
catch too, though. It
Yeah,
was just a 1 yard pass, but it was a nice play.
yeah, he seems like a person that maybe the Chiefs will want to again maybe practice squad later. They didn't want anybody to poach him at this point, and maybe
Hmm.
maybe they released a veteran like maybe because they only kept three tight ends, which maybe seems a little light on the tight end side. So maybe they got rid of Robert Tunyon, who had some good is a veteran and had some good plays in the preseason. So
Hmm.
maybe they switch those two, or maybe they're keeping eight because they're expecting Rasheed Rice to miss games early, and they want to have seven wide receivers on the side of that, or maybe it's a signal they're going to open the offense up more. They're going to throw more of the wide receivers, less to the tight ends. I don't know.
Well, at
And
least one of those guys will be in the mix for returns too.
yeah, yeah. Remigio was kept, so he's basically a return guy. They
Yeah.
did trade Sky Moore to the 49ers. Um, they also got a trade of an old friend back, Derek Nottie from the Jets. I guess maybe he was a cut candidate. The Chiefs got him back, and they kept him on the roster. And maybe that was why they released Mike Pennell. Again, he's another guy. He probably will go to the practice squad and kind of work his way in to the lineup, mid-season. The way the practice squad works now, it seems like they get a lot of exemptions, and you can work guys in pretty easily because it's 16 players. It used to only be 8 players. So there's a lot of like veterans that are stashed down there now. So maybe that's where Zappi will go, or Oladokun, who was cut. They're probably going to, at least one of those two are going to go to the practice squad. Um, yeah, it's hard.
Because now they have that you have that third QB that you put sort of halfway on the roster too, right? For reserve
Emergency. Yeah, I
emergency
think
scenarios.
yeah, you can dress a third. I think you have to have them on the roster though.
Mm,
I think it has to be on the 53 man roster to dress a third, but
mm,
I don't know how it doesn't come up very often. But
right. Well, and it's one of those like technicality things that we don't necessarily hear about going into the game, but we'll unless the scenario like presents itself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the roster was mostly predictable, although there's some of the minor, like they did keep a lot of maybe some of the linebackers that the Chiefs kept. Uh there are some names that I don't recognize, like Jeff Bassa, Cooper
He
McDonald.
was a draft pick this year.
Well, he was draft pick this year, so they did keep him.
Yeah.
They got rid of Cam Jones, who had played before. Cole Christensen got released as well, who had played before.
Mm,
Cooper McDonald is a new name that I didn't recognize. Do you know him?
mm. No.
Um,
Did it surprise you that every single draft pick that made the roster though? That's a good sign for their draft selections then, right?
yeah, yeah, and yeah, Cooper McDonald was an undrafted free agent as well. So they kept all the draft picks and they added at least two undrafted free agents in Brownlee and Cooper McDonald.
That's pretty good.
So that's nine. Um,
So they're finding value.
I guess he was on the Jets roster at one point last year, so he wasn't an undrafted free agent this year. He's an
Oh,
undrafted
okay.
free agent from a couple of years ago. Um, but yeah, so Brownlee was a kind of a bigger guy from West Point, Mississippi, uh, signed to the practice squad. He did have he has had a couple of NFL receptions um, for the Jets in 2023, although I don't think he had any in 2024. But yeah, it looks like the Royals, going back to the Royals, they're up 5-4 going into the bottom of the ninth inning. But back to the Chiefs. Yeah, are you surprised by any of these cuts, or do you think the Chiefs are going to make more moves tomorrow to try to bring in? They have waivers that other teams have to. All the players that get released have to clear waivers. At least if they're young players, they have to clear waivers. If they're um, older players, I think 4 years of experience, they're automatically released and they become free agents and they can sign with whatever team they want. So it's sometimes better to release one of the players that can become free agent, because then you think, oh, you can give them a good practice squad deal that's as good as being at the bottom of the roster in some other team. Um,
Yeah, because they can take a chance somewhere else, or they can,
yeah,
they know they're going to eventually make an appearance back with this team if the
yeah.
team that they're they're familiar with the playbook from the preseason. So
Yeah, but for the waivers, as any one team claims them, they're going to be gone, and the Chiefs are pretty low on the waiver totem pole, so they're probably expecting we're not going to get a whole lot of waiver candidate guys slipping through all the way down to. number 31 on the waiver wire, which I think it mirrors the draft wire. So like
Mhm.
the um the Titans, I think, are number one on the waiver list, so they get the first pick of all the players that were cut.
Yeah. But yeah,
And
not necessarily every team will take someone, and yeah, but if you have your eye on somebody, you're still gonna you have to wait, right?
yeah,
In the Chiefs position. But they have a tendency to do that though. They find guys that were released from other clubs in the at the on cut down days. So they do have a tendency to pick up one or two players at this time every year. It seems like, right?
yeah. Sometimes they do. You'll see. Yeah, it'll. I guess we'll just see what happens. Um, yeah, but they kept all of their draft picks, like you said. So they had how many draft picks do they have this year? Seven.
Seven, I think. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. So every.
Yep, seven. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was kind of impressive that they managed to keep all of them, even like the later round picks. Sometimes those are
Hmm.
a little less likely to make the roster typically. But I guess they didn't have a sixth round pick this year, so they had a fifth and a seventh. But Bossa and Richard Smith both made the roster.
Yes. And we have Rashard Smith. He made it as a running back. He was a converted wide receiver to running back. So in some ways, the Chiefs have nine wide receivers on their roster. Um, and they did because they kept four running backs, which I think some people thought they'd pick up another running back because they weren't necessarily happy with Kareem Hunt and Elijah Mitchell and Pacheco and Smith as their running back core. I think it's a fairly weak running back group. I like the way Pacheco plays, but I guess maybe he's more recovered from his injury now than he was in the later part of the season last year. But Hunt is getting old. Um, Elijah Mitchell is a decent back, but he's never been a star anywhere really.
He didn't
Uh,
have a great spring
Preseason
either,
either. Yeah.
very preseason. So, and that was like as a third string sort of,
Yeah.
playing not with the ones, but the twos and threes, fours even possibly. But
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, he didn't look all that great in the couple of games that we got to see. And the Royals just finished the win there, down 4-0, and they held on for the 5-4 win, Mike.
Oh, so you want to transition to the Royals? I think we've talked enough about Chiefs for now. We'll talk more and more about the Chiefs next week, since they're going to begin their season. So we'll have a pre NFL our last NFL preview episode where we predict the final records of all of the teams. At least we'll do that. I don't know if we'll do that over under on those teams. We'll have to do that before the episode starts next week.
Yes.
But
Yeah, I'll send you the line, the over-unders this weekend probably, and
yeah,
where they're settling right now. So
yeah.
I think now that the rosters are settled, they'll have a better the sports books will have a better idea as to what the expectation is for wins, and
Hmm.
then we'll test our knowledge or our skepticism
Yeah,
of their numbers, right?
yeah, I think we were under 500 last year, but we
Yeah,
were
we haven't
way
done very well with
I
this.
think we were way worse the year before though. So I think we've
Yeah.
improved some. It's hard to get those right. It's again those lines are always very well set, and then it seems like they know something that we don't in Vegas.
Well, so much of it's dependent on injury
Injuries and health, and they
luck. And yeah, some teams are, great at everything except for one particular position. If that position goes down, then their season is over.
yeah.
Or somebody like emerges that was totally unexpected. Like I don't think anybody expected like how good Jaden Daniels was going to end up being last season. Somebody we'll be talking about here a little bit. Uh, but
Hmm.
like Washington wasn't really expected to be that good last year. They ended up being a playoff team, so things like that happen, and that's kind of what's one of the entertaining things about sports in general is not knowing what's going to happen. So it turns out historically we haven't known a whole lot of how many wins any given team is going to have in the season. So we'll
No.
see if we can do better this year than we did last year too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll improve. And hopefully we'll improve also on our stat on our lines for the the gambling, just the lines on the games as well. We'll come back and make our three picks of the week. We'll have to do that next week as well. Make our first three on-air picks, and
Locks
then
of the week.
our three locks of the week, which have been in some ways, I can't even remember how we finished last year. I think I ended up winning a little bit of money last year. I think you lost a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but the year before, you mopped the floor with me, I believe. So
Yeah.
it varies from year to year, I guess.
Yeah. Everything that was working for me before quit working for me last season. So
Yeah,
no, never
that's
know.
that's the year. Last season is also the first year I went with a blanket under, uh, and I think that freed me up to get the lines a little better. So I might
No.
go back with the blanket under, uh, or I guess I could go blanket over and see if that was any either better. But I like the blanket. I like under because more people want to pick the over than the under because it's under is less fun to pick.
Right. So you're going with the wet blanket picks. That's basically what
Yeah,
it
but maybe
is.
that's what but then maybe that's what the sharps usually pick. So they want to limit those. So it's one of those things where it's hard to find the edge on any of the picks. So we
Yeah.
might, but anyway, we'll do all that stuff beginning our locks of the week, our over unders and win totals. We'll do that next week. Uh, I will film that episode on Tuesday, and then by Thursday when we air it, it'll be done right before the first game. The Eagles, who do the Eagles play on Thursday? The Chiefs play on Friday against the Chargers in the second game of the year. Um,
Let's see. Week one is Dallas at Philly,
Dallas at Philly. That's a good game.
September 4th. Chiefs at Chargers in Brazil, though, right?
Brazil, yes.
Naturally in Brazil. Do the Chiefs and Chargers in Brazil make more sense than the Iowa State Cyclones and K-State Wildcats in Dublin, Mike?
I guess so because they did play a game in Brazil last year, and I think that was the Packers Eagles played Brazil last year, so they're playing two games in a row in Brazil. I guess they have played games in Ireland for college football as well. I think Nebraska and Northwestern played in Dublin last year, but yeah, it's a little strange having two random Midwestern state schools playing in Dublin in is normally a conference game, especially I guess you think, well, the NFL is expanding their presence quite a bit into various parts of Europe and Latin America,
Yeah,
but I don't know how popular the college game is translating overseas. Again, they don't really have college sports in Europe in the way that we do, or any other country in the way that we do here. So it's a little strange, but I guess it's a fun trip for the teams, and maybe there's for some of the I guess the fans, the alumni might get a trip to Ireland, something out of that. So maybe that's
yeah.
a fun experience. But yeah, it's a little strange. And then, like as you mentioned before we went on the air, K-State, who lost to Iowa State, is now in week zero already one game behind in the conference standings. So they maybe have blown their chance to win the conference already since they've already lost that one game to Iowa State. There might be a tiebreaker or something like that with Iowa State because both of those teams were ranked going in. So, um,
Well, and there won't be another conference game for like three or four more weeks. So
yeah,
they're gonna
most
have
of
to
the
they have to wear that 0-1 standing, in the conference until the next game is played. So I mean,
yeah,
look at that. That's what's annoying about it, right? For that, from their perspective, is they have to look at this thing for weeks being at the bottom of the conference, right?
yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, speaking of standings and the conference and being in the where they are in the conference or the league, the Royals are now 3.5 games out of the wild card. standings. They're 3.5 games behind the Seattle Mariners, 4.5 behind the Yankees, and a full 5 games behind the Red Sox. But they are the number four team in the AL wild card hunt. So there are no teams ahead of them anymore. So that's, I guess, good. But they're still a few games behind with only 30 games to play or so. What do you think the Royals' chances are? They've kind of been treading water lately. They've been finishing about 500. They've, win a game here, lose a game here, win a game here, lose a game here. They lost 2 out of 3 to Detroit. They lost last night to the White Sox. They beat the White Sox today. Um, yeah, do you think the Royals are going to be able to make up ground in the wild card, or are they going to kind of just stay where they are, do you think?
Well, I think, had they not won today's game against the White Sox, that I was pretty much ready to write off the rest of the season because you can't really lose two games to one of the worst teams in baseball. If you're expecting to make the playoff run. They did not look very good against Detroit. They blew a couple of games. Basically, they had opportunities to win, but they didn't look very good. And the one game they won, they actually blew. They had a 6-1 lead in that one, and they ended up having to come back to win 10-8 in that one. So that was not a great look in Detroit, but they did come out with a win. They did come out with a win today against the White Sox. So maybe they're going to hang around for a little while longer. But man, they seem
Yeah.
to be putting themselves in positions to lose games rather than before they even start. Again, it's the same issues that they've had all season. They don't set good lineups. They don't use their bullpen appropriately. They put themselves in the positions to lose rather than playing in front. And it's just obnoxious to watch it happen over and over again. It's crazy. I mean, they could be, 10 to 15 games ahead of where they are right now just by following basic sabermetric strategies that they just completely ignore. It's maddening. Drives me crazy, Mike. I don't think it drives you crazy as quite as much as it drives me crazy.
No, it drives you more crazy because I don't expect any team to be perfect in the decision-making process. I'm just happy they're kind of winning. It looks like probably they will be only 3 games back by the time the night ends because right now the Mariners are playing the Padres and they're down 5-0 to the Padres in the fourth inning. So there's still a lot of time in that game, but most teams don't overcome 5-run deficits in games. So I guess the Royals overcame a 4-run deficit
Yeah.
to win tonight.
Late too.
But
Down four in the eighth, and they managed to come back.
yeah, but that was also against the White Sox. The Padres are a good team. Um, it's harder to come back against them. They're in one of the wild card positions in the NL. But
They're
yeah, so
actually they're actually vying for the conference or the division lead with the Dodgers. Only a game back in the Dodgers right now.
yeah,
Yeah, they
so
had caught them earlier, and then they've they've lost the lead a couple of times. I think they've just recently caught and then lost the lead again
hmm
in the West.
yeah, so it seems like really that the Royals might only be 3 games behind the end of the night. So that's still within striking distance, and they've gotten ahead of not the Indians, the Guardians. Uh, it seems like finally have them a little bit in the rearview mirror now. They're 2 games up on the Guardians, 2 games up on the Rangers, who they beat three out of four recently in the series. So looks like maybe they're cementing themselves at least as the fourth possible wild card team. If they can sneak into one of those top three, that would be great. Um, but yeah, they need to start adding on, piling up a few wins in a row, just to um, make things look a little bit better.
We mentioned as the second half started that the Royals did have a fairly soft schedule
hmm
in the second half, but they do have one more game against the White Sox, and they played the Tigers again. This is where we I think, talked last week, where we were hoping that they could at least go, split the 6 games with the Tigers, so they would need to win 2 out of 3 at home.
hmm
Uh, and I think they'd still be in okay shape.
Yeah, and I think they also are missing um, uh, who's the Detroit?
Oh yeah, they were
Skubal. There was,
potentially missing, yeah, Tariq Skubal, so that would be nice.
yeah.
It does look like Boston does have some relatively tough remaining schedule left. They do play only one series against the Yankees, but they do have the A's twice, so they've been playing pretty decently. The Rays, Blue Jays, and Tigers are their last three series then of the season. So the Boston's not going to be skating into the playoffs. They're actually going to have to like beat some solid teams at
Mhm.
the end of the season. So that's at least a good sign from the Royals perspective, knowing that they have a little bit of
Yeah.
a soft schedule. The
Yeah.
Yankees have a bit easier schedule, so they end the season with a 4 game series, Baltimore, 3 games against the White Sox, and then 3 more games against Baltimore. So they get a team that hasn't played all that well this season, and fired their coach
Yeah.
early in the year, and seemingly traded away a lot of the players at the trade deadline. So you would expect, just looking at the schedules, that the Yankees are probably maybe likely to get in. Red Sox may have a tougher shot. So yeah, maybe the Royals have a chance to like sneak by Boston, perhaps.
Hmm. Maybe.
Maybe
Maybe.
we can keep our fingers crossed
Yeah.
as hopeful Royals fans.
Yes, that's all we can do. Um, yeah. So should we move, so we have the Royals to look forward to the next few weeks, but we do have the NFL season starting next week. Should we look at our final round of NFL uh, Eastern Division quarterbacks now? So our fourth and final installment of the series, looking at the NFC East and the AFC East. Now we're relying basically on the 53-man roster. We aren't again, we're looking at quarterbacks on the roster, so there aren't quite as many to go through since we've passed the roster cut down. So this will make it a little bit quicker than our previous weeks
Yeah.
uh, have been. But so not quite as many quarterbacks to wade through. Really, only 3 quarterbacks uh, at most now per team. Nobody's keeping more than 3 quarterbacks this year. We thought maybe the Browns might keep 4, but they ended up trading Kenny Pickett to the Raiders because Aiden O'Connell was injured in the last preseason game. So that's one fewer quarterback for the Browns, and also Deshaun
John
Watson
Watson
is
is
starting on the injured one of the injured lists, not the injured reserve, which keeps you out the whole season, but the physically unable to perform list.
list.
Yeah,
Yes.
the pup list. Um, he has to miss the first 4 games, but I think he's going to miss most of the season at least because of his Achilles injury. But again, also probably they don't want nobody wants to see Deshaun Watson play anyway. So I think he might miss the whole game. But they are starting. The Browns have Flacco as their starter, and then Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders as the 2 and 3. So not much experience in the backup world for the Browns.
Equally inexperienced quarterbacks, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But let's, I guess, go ahead and get started on the NFC East, Dr. Scaff.
Sure.
Okay, so I guess we'll start out with the westernmost Eastern NFC team, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys starting quarterback, of course, is going to be Dak Prescott. Prescott is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but maybe not the top tier, which I think frustrates a lot of Dallas fans that he's pretty good, but can't get people over the hump. Former 2016 fourth round draft pick who immediately became a starter when Tony Romo retired and was injured. Um,
In reverse order, right?
Yeah, injured then retired. I guess he did. He only played 8 games last season, though. He suffered uh, a injury, a tear of his hamstring. He had to undergo hamstring surgery, uh, And so he didn't have a great season either in those 8 games. 3-5 record as a starter, only 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So not his best season. Uh, he did throw for the 2023 season for 36 touchdowns and only 9 interceptions. So he threw one more. He played 17 full games. He only threw 9 interceptions in 2023. He only played 8 games, threw 8 interceptions in 2024. So maybe he's looking to rebound after a fairly poor season on his end. But he's a solid quarterback. Um, Over 30,000 yards passing in his career, 213 touchdown passes to 82 interceptions, a 98.1 career quarterback rating. But only 2-5 as a starter in the playoffs, which I think is what the Dallas is really disappointed about. But he has won a couple of playoff games, which is more than what Dallas has won in a while. But yeah, the Cowboys have Dak Prescott as their starter. Uh, their backup, it looks like their number one backup at this point, it looks like it's going to be Will Greer, uh, former third round pick in 2019 out of West Virginia. Used to play at Florida as well. He's played with the Cowboys a couple of times. He's only started 2 games as a starter. That was in 2019 with Carolina, his rookie year. 2 very poor games where he had only a 33.2 quarterback rating in those 2 games. He hasn't played a regular season game since 2019. So I guess he'll probably be the number 2 quarterback, unless it's Joe Milton, who was traded from the Patriots to uh, the Cowboys. Joe Milton, only 25. So Will Greer now is 30 years old, so he's not a young quarterback anymore. Uh, Joe Milton is the third, maybe the third quarterback. He is 25 years old. He played for Michigan and then Tennessee uh, in in college. I guess, replaced Hendon Hooker as the starter at Tennessee. Hendon Hooker was maybe surprisingly cut by the Detroit Lions, so they decided to only go, I think, with 2 quarterbacks. Detroit did. But maybe he's going to be on the practice squad. But yeah, Joe Milton did play 1 game last year for New England. He didn't start, but he played most of the game uh, after um, Drake May left after the first. It was the last game of the season. Drake May played the first drive, and then Joe Milton played most of the rest of the game. And Milton had a pretty good game against the Bills in the final game of the NFL season. He threw for 241 yards, a touchdown, 111 quarterback rating. He also rushed for a touchdown. Um, so Joe Milton maybe is a promising third quarterback option. Really strong arm. I think he had one of the strongest arms in the league, people have said. So maybe he's the long-term starting option. Maybe if because Prescott is, I don't know how long is Prescott going to be around? He has a couple more years, I think, on his contract though.
Yeah, he's in the second year of a 4-year deal, 4-year, $240 million deal, another holdout from a year ago. But ended up with a pretty enormous contract. He's a 50 million cap hit this year. Next year it jumps to 74 million and then 68 million for 2027. So that's those are some big numbers. And he is the highest paid quarterback by the cap hit for this season of all quarterbacks in the NFL.
So it seems like maybe he's due for a restructuring. Uh,
You'd think that they
or
would have restructured that just to make sure it wasn't that big of a hit for one guy. Because now they're, trying to sign Micah Parsons too, and he's sort of
yeah.
holding out, not really all the way in, right, for the season.
hmm
So, maybe some extra money there would have helped to keep the defense in more stable with having one of their top players there be covered. But that's a lot of money being assigned to one player, 50 million.
Yeah.
It does look like On the final roster set day, though, that it looks like the Cowboys are going with Milton as the two
Hmm.
because yeah, it looks like Greer was waived.
Oh, was he?
I don't maybe that's not final. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Oh,
But
Wikipedia has him as just a they just call him an American professional quarterback. They don't have him as a Dallas Cowboy right now. So maybe
uh so maybe that
he
is
was still on the roster when I looked at it today. But
if you look before like 4 p.m. Eastern, maybe he was. And then I think the cut down time or something was like 3 p.m. something like that. Central.
yeah, they still have him on. Actually, they still have him on the roster, so whoever's running the Dallas Cowboys Wikipedia page is not as up to date as some. Um,
Chances
but
are he will still be around in
yeah,
somewhere, but if not on the Cowboys, somebody else is likely to become because he seems like he's a decent player. But yeah, it looked like Milton took the number two. Well, it looks like he was taking snaps with like whatever the top team was with Dallas in their third preseason game. He did go 10 of 18 for 132 yards and a touchdown, and rushed 4 times for 33 yards and another touchdown. So it looks like he had a pretty good final preseason game. Maybe that's what cemented
maybe it was
his
cemented it. Yeah.
number two spot for this season, for at least the beginning of the season.
Mhm. Well, moving on to the Washington Commanders, it does look like they are keeping three quarterbacks on their roster as well. Their number one quarterback, of course, is the second year starter, Jaden Daniels, a former Heisman Trophy winner out of LSU, number two overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft. He was also the rookie of the year in the NFL last year. He had 12 and 5 record as a starter, 25 touchdown passes, only 9 interceptions, threw for about 3,500 yards, had a 100.1 quarterback rating. He had another 891 rushing yards with 6 touchdowns. So he almost had 1,000 yards rushing as well. Uh, he had a 2-1 record in the playoffs, leading the uh, Commanders farther in the playoffs than they've been in many, many years. Uh, so things are looking up. It seems like in Washington, although you have to, I would guess that I do think that Daniels is due maybe for a sophomore slump, just like CJ Stroud had, just like a lot of quarterbacks have in their second year as a starter. I think he had a brilliant first year. I don't know how well he's going to do his second year. Probably fairly well, but I'm not sure how. I think if I had to bet an over under on the Commanders record, I'm going to go with the under this year. If I, at least if I see the number as being something like if it's above 10, a 10 and a half,
Yeah,
that I would
if
go
it's
with
like
the
8.5, 9, maybe, but
yeah.
if it's 10 or more, maybe not. Yeah, I mean, do you think the regression
Ooh,
is as
the Commanders over under wins. It looks like it's 9.5. So
yeah, it's gonna be right,
that's that.
making you make a decision.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe 10-7 was their peak. Uh, but now 9.5. That's rough. I might still go under, but yeah, the Vegas is always outthinking me and ahead of me in many ways. So um, yeah,
Yeah,
they said.
I was gonna ask you though. Yeah, do you think expect more regression from a pocket passer or a more mobile quarterback though? Because Daniels is pretty mobile. Do you think that maybe takes the edge off of the expectation for like the downfield passing? Because it's not just one aspect of the game that has to, you would maybe see a regression. Maybe you could make up for regression in passing with maybe some more regression
Maybe,
like
yeah.
running depth wise.
But running, of course, makes you more vulnerable to injury. So maybe the regression will
That's
come
where it is.
because he's going to get injured,
The regression for
unfortunately.
the team may come at the
Yeah.
expense of an injury, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that pocket passer, I think, stays a little healthier than in Lamar Jackson's missed quite a few games over his career. Basically, the only running quarterback who hasn't missed any games, it seems like, is Josh Allen, who seems to be built out of brick or something like that. He never gets he gets hurt sometimes, but he never misses games.
Doesn't
Um,
seem to, yeah.
so
Not very
he's
often.
yeah, he seems to be the exception to the rule, but the running quarterbacks, again, you don't want to bring up in Washington RG3, who of course had a brilliant rookie season and then was injured his second season. So something like that, the I'm sure Commanders fans are holding their breath every time Daniels gets on the field, but I don't even barring injury, I think the team uh, was probably more successful last year than they normally would have been. So they're probably due for a little regression.
They did win some games kind of, you know, on like sort of fluky plays, like that Hail Mary.
Yeah, the Hail Mary against
Um, that was,
Chicago.
turned a loss into a win. That's kind of a big deal. And
Yeah,
your season win totals.
yeah.
If you steal a win. They did also, I think they did secure Terry McLaurin too for a pretty big contract. So,
Hmm.
he still has his favorite wide receiver target there. So that nothing crazy has changed
Yeah,
uh, for his preferred wide receiver target.
yeah. Well, so if Daniels does get hurt, the backup quarterbacks are Marcus Mariota, who's also a former number two overall pick, like Daniels. He was with the Commanders last year as well, but he'd been with the Eagles before that, the Falcons, the Raiders for a little bit, and with the Titans, of course, when the Titans he led the Titans to a playoff victory over the Chiefs in the 2017 season, that controversial playoff victory where the Chiefs ended up losing that game after being way ahead in the first half. And Marcus Mariota caught his own touchdown pass. Also was sacked, but the fumble was ruled forward progress or something. Remember that? Uh,
Yeah.
and it was this really strange ruling which again, the Chiefs recovered a fumble. Would have, I think, even returned it for quite a few yards, but it was brought back because of this odd uh, forward progress call that didn't make any sense, but that was what was ruled, so it couldn't be overturned. Um, but Mariota is the backup. He's a capable backup, also a former kind of dual threat quarterback, just like um, Jaden Daniels was, but he hasn't. He did start 13 games in Atlanta in 2022, but he hasn't started a game since 2022. He only played sparingly last year for both Washington and Philadelphia. So, but when he did go in, Mariota was four touchdowns, no interceptions, 131.2 quarterback rating, and he has a hit. And historically, he has a 90.1 quarterback rating as a starter, even though he's only 34 and 40 in his career. So he's a very solid backup to have. But I think they do lose some of the dynamism with Mariota now at this stage of his career. Mariota is 31 years old. He'll be 32 at the end of October. So not a spring chicken anymore, but also maybe not super old either, but probably somebody who's not quite the dual threat that he was early in his career. And then even older is the third quarterback, Josh Johnson, uh, who is now 39 years old, he's on his 14th different NFL team. He's played for the Buccaneers, the 49ers, the Browns, the Bengals, the 49ers again, the Bengals, the Jets, the Colts, the Bills, the Ravens, the Giants, the Texans, the Raiders, the then Redskins, the Lions, 49ers again, Jets again, Ravens again, Broncos, 49ers again, Ravens again, and now the Commanders for the first again. I guess he played for the Washington then Redskins, but now he's with the Commanders back in Washington again. So he's been around a lot, but not a whole lot of experience as a starter, but a very good experience as a backup. He's only 1-8 in his career as a starter, but as a third quarterback, that's probably pretty good to have Josh Johnson. So you've got to feel pretty good about the quarterback room in Washington. I would guess I would feel better about the QB room in Washington maybe than I would in Dallas, since you only have two, and then the two and three are maybe a little bit more inexperienced than the backups in um, in Washington. So um, should we want to move on to Philadelphia?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So of course, Philadelphia starters Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl winning quarterback, Super Bowl appearing quarterback twice. Hurts famously started out at Alabama and then went to Oklahoma in 2019, second round draft pick in 2020 by the Eagles. He's been a starter there since uh, really since the end of 2020. And he's compiled a 46 and 20 record as a starter, thrown for 85 touchdowns, 39 interceptions, 93.5 quarterback rating over his career, become a solid quarterback. He's not asked to do a whole lot sometimes on offense because you have Saquon Barkley, you have a great running game, you have really great defense. The Eagles roster is just stacked all around. But when they do ask him to do to perform, he does come through. And he had two great Super Bowls against the Chiefs. Solid quarterback. Again, you worry about injury possibilities since he's a running quarterback. He rushed for 630 yards in 14 touchdowns. Many of those touchdowns are because of the tush push or the brotherly shove, as sometimes it's put. But a play that has not been outlawed yet, I believe. Underscap. They are always thinking about it because it's such a stupid looking and kind of lame play, but it hasn't been outlawed yet. They can run it again next year. And so Hertz has had 55 rushing touchdowns in his 4.5 years as a starter, so which is crazy. But yeah, he's a running, maybe no longer a run first quarterback, but certainly a running quarterback. He didn't, he only threw for 2,903 yards in 15 games last year, so threw for fewer yards. Partly because I think the Eagles have such a good running game now with Saquon Barkley in the backfield in their line, and so it's so good. So
Yeah, they have good wide receivers too.
yeah,
It's
they have good wide receivers too. Yeah,
tough.
it's a roster
They're a
that's
tough
the
team.
envy of the league, I would say. Um,
Their biggest weakness may be their head coach then, right? Maybe
yeah,
getting into it with fans, stuff like
yeah,
that, right?
yeah. I don't think he's a great coach, but he's got a good roster to work with.
Yeah.
Uh, and then the Eagles, after Jalen Hurts, have an interesting kind of situation because we don't. It's either kind of either untested Tanner McKee or it's newly acquired Sam Howell, who will be the second quarterback. We talked about Sam Howell with the Vikings, so we don't need to go over him again. But Tanner McKee, so the Vikings traded Sam Howell to the Eagles because they wanted more experience behind JJ McCarthy in the quarterback room. So they picked up Carson Wentz, former Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, to go to Minnesota. So that made Howell expendable. So Howell was sent to Philadelphia. They already had Tanner McKee as a possible backup. Uh, Tanner McKee is 25 years old. He pulled six-round draft pick out of Stanford. Only a 6-15 record in college as a starter, so not so good. Uh, didn't have great stats in college. Is not a running quarterback. He had a total of negative 90 rushing yards as a college quarterback. Probably most of those were kneel downs, but still, that's not a lot of running
Record, though,
ability.
right?
Yeah. Um,
Probably not with that record though. I wouldn't
yeah,
think, right? Was it say 6-16?
I guess it wasn't probably a lot of 6 and 15. So I guess maybe it wasn't a lot of
Yeah.
kneel downs at the end of the game. So if he was 15-6, maybe there would be a lot of kneel downs. Uh, but he didn't win a whole lot of games. So yeah, it's a little
No.
strange. But he's a very big guy, 6'6", 230 pounds. So he's tall. I guess he looks the part of a quarterback. So maybe um, he comes in. But I would think maybe they'd put Sam Howell though ahead of McKee once he gets maybe used to the offense a little bit more. But the Eagles are also keeping those three quarterbacks uh, after Hurts, McKee, and then Howell.
And it looks like maybe it was that situation became necessary because it looks like they gave the entire third game to Kyle McCord, who was 15 of 35 for 136 yards and an interception. So that they must not have liked what they saw there and decided that they needed to go outside the organization to pick up backup quarterback for Hurts.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that's not a great performance from an entire game.
No. So I don't know
Because
what.
you
Yeah.
because you'd think that yeah, a lot of those passes were thrown against a third string defense too. So yeah, that's not great.
Not great. But yeah, so but they have a good start. You have a good starter in Hurts. Hopefully he doesn't go down. But then after that, we're maybe the quarterback is a little bit of a weak spot for the Eagles in the backup, or they don't have a Mariota. They did have Mariota a couple of years ago, but they don't have Mariota anymore uh,
Yeah.
as their backup. They don't have or Gardner Minshew, which who they had last year. So they don't have or 2 years ago. They don't have the high end backup like they have before. So that's something maybe the Eagles are risking, and they're paying Hurts a lot more money, so they probably can't afford a high end backup at this point. So
For Hurts contract though, he's not like one of the most expensive like per year guys because his contract this year is at 26 million, year three of a 5 year deal, 255 million deal. Oh no, he's at 22 million for this year. But next year he's 32, and in 2027 he's 42 million. So still like
hmm.
significant discount compared to Dak Prescott. Do you think you'd rather have Dak Prescott with his contract or Jalen Hurts with Hurts' contract
I
as
guess you'd rather
your
have Hurts.
QB1?
Hurts is half as expensive as Dak Prescott, and probably at least as good as Dak Prescott. So overall, so I think yeah, we'd rather have Hurts. Although
I think
maybe you would
so
think,
as
well, if
well.
you had Prescott in the backfield, you know, handing it off to Barkley and then throwing it to the wide receivers, you could really have some offense. But I think they like what they have in Hurts.
Yeah, he's sort of between like a game manager and a downfield passer and a running quarterback. He's kind of a mix of all of that though. So
Yeah.
he's maybe not the best quarterback at any of those individual aspects of the game, but together he's a pretty competitive player for any team. I think he'd be
Mhm.
pretty happy to have a player like that on almost any roster.
Yeah, I'd agree. Um,
Yeah,
so moving on then to the last of the NFC East teams, we have the New York Football Giants, as they were once known, because of the former baseball Giants being in New York.
right,
It's Chris Berman, I think, still calls them the New York Football Giants.
right.
Um, but the Giants have a new quarterback, and their new quarterback is Russell Wilson, who has made his way from Pittsburgh, from Denver, from Seattle to uh, New York. Uh,
Working his way all the way across the northern part of the country, right, from west to east.
Pretty much, yeah. I guess Denver's not as far north as some
Yeah,
places, but it's high
yeah,
up in elevation.
right. There we go. It makes up for its
I guess
more southern route by being
Yeah, I guess
higher.
I guess in Pittsburgh probably isn't much. I don't know how much farther north Pittsburgh is from any of those places. I guess yeah,
No.
yeah. But he's still in the northern part of he's still in the northern part of the country, we'll say. But yeah, Russell Wilson in his now 2012, so 15th, 14th season as a starter for various teams. Was Seahawk from 2012 to 2021. 2 years in Denver, last year with the Steelers, and now with the New York Giants. Historically, a very good, very strong quarterback. Super Bowl winner with the Seattle Seahawks. 121, 77 and 1 record as a starter. A 99.8 career quarterback rating. Uh, he's thrown for 350 touchdown passes to only 111 interceptions over his career. So very solid quarterback. He actually has had some quietly pretty good seasons the last couple of years, even though his teams haven't done so great with him. They finished under 500. Uh, uh, he's had a 13-13 record the last two seasons. He had two under 500 seasons the years before that. So he's had some lack of team success, but individually he's still been a solid quarterback. Um, threw for 16 for Pittsburgh. He threw for 16 touchdowns, only five interceptions last year, a 95.6 rating, following Justin Fields' start as the quarterback last year for them. But yeah, Wilson is, maybe a controversial personality in some of his ways. I think some people see him as kind of a phony, uh, but he's, you know, maybe enjoying his life as at least the current New York Giants quarterback. The Giants also, however, drafted uh, Jackson Dart in the second round of the NFL draft. So maybe he is the quarterback of the future. What do you think of the spelling of Jackson Dart?
Well, then Jaxon, isn't it?
Jaxson.
See, I didn't even know about the S there. No, so no, I
Jackson Dart.
Jax. No, I don't care for that.
I didn't think you would. Uh,
Does it make
Jackson,
things like the son of like he's a son of Jacksonville, like the
yeah,
abbreviation for the football team, Jacksonville.
yeah.
It's
Jackson
Jax.
Chase Dart, who was drafted in the first round, the 25th overall pick, to the end of the first round. Uh, Played for Ole Miss. Mainly, he played for USC a little bit at the beginning of his career, but he had a 28-13 record as a starter in college. Last year, he threw for 29 touchdowns, only six interceptions, for more than 4,000 yards passing. He's had a really solid year for Ole Miss. Worked his way into the first round, uh, but he's still an unproven commodity. But I guess he probably is the quarterback of the future in New York. You wonder how long Russell Wilson will keep that job. Do you think it will be for the whole year? Do you think it will be less than a year, or do you think it will be maybe for a year plus? What would you say Wilson's hold on the job is, Dr. Scaff?
Well, he's been pretty healthy though, right? So I mean, like he doesn't usually miss many games
Once
once
he,
he has it, right?
yeah.
So like he didn't play the first couple of games last season, but then as soon as he was healthy, he kind of took it over
Hmm.
in Pittsburgh and played the rest of the year, right? So I think as long as he's healthy, I think he's going to be in there. But they didn't sign him to like an enormous contract. It's just a 1 year, $11 million deal. So they're not going to be super tied to him. So I think that if he doesn't look great early, they could make a switch to Dart like without much reason behind it, right?
Yeah. Well, they also have Jameis Winston in the quarterback room as well, so they have a experienced backup. I guess probably at this point, maybe if you have a team, maybe a quarterback that needs to come in the middle of the game, maybe that's Winston. But if you have a quarterback that needs, backup quarterback is going to start a game, maybe you start Dart. I'm not sure how the backup situation is going to be done in New York. But Jameis Winston, of course, former Heisman Trophy winner out of uh, Florida State. He played for 5 years for the Buccaneers, mainly as a starter, and then has been a backup since 2020 with the Saints for 4 years, then the Browns, and then the Giants this year. Uh, Famously, he threw for 30 touchdowns one of his seasons as a starter, 33 touchdowns in 2019 as a starter. He also, though, threw for 30 interceptions that year. So he throws a lot of picks, but he throws a lot of touchdowns as well. So he's a pretty solid quarterback, pretty good quarterback, especially as a backup. So the Giants' quarterback room was looking, I think, much better this year than it did the last couple of years when they did cut Tommy DeVito as their fourth quarterback. Tommy Cutlets is gone, but he was their starter for much of the, behind Daniel Jones. Now I think with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and Jackson Dart, I think you have a much better quarterback room than you've had the last few years in in New York. It's something maybe that Brian Dable will help try to help save Brian Dable's job. A solid set of quarterbacks.
Just out of curiosity, though, Mike, in the final preseason game of this year for the Giants, one quarterback went 17 for 20 for 198 yards and three touchdowns. Which quarterback do you think it is that had that line?
Oh, it's probably gonna be Tommy Cutlets.
That was the guy they got right after the game. Like, that's a pretty great game. 17 to 20, 198 yards and three touchdowns. And that's not good enough to find a spot on the roster. That's
Poor
tough.
Tommy. Yeah, maybe he's gonna get a practice squad spot with them, or who knows
You'd think
where he's
maybe
gonna end up.
somebody will be out there giving him a call to, use that waiver
Quarterback, yeah.
line on. I don't know. I mean, you'd think, right? Just because that's a pretty good line against some of these teams that we've seen, quarterbacks that made rosters that had worse lines than that. So I mean, that's
Hmm.
pretty decent. I'm assuming that was in late game duty, but not with the first squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Jackson Dart got first team snaps. And then Jameis Winston came in the second quarter. Yeah. So yes, it was late duty, but still 17 to 20. Not
Yeah.
bad.
Some people have said that he may be going to the Patriots. Well, we'll talk about a little bit since they only have two quarterbacks right now, and one of them is Drake May. We'll talk about the Patriots in a little bit. But yeah, right now the Patriots only have Drake May and Joshua Dobbs. Maybe we'll start with the Patriots since we'll just go to the NFC East. I've seen rumors that maybe Tommy DeVito might end up with the Patriots as their third quarterback or second quarterback eventually, because right now the Patriots are starting Drake May, who is so we're going to the AFC East now. Do you have any NFC East comments in general, or should we just go on to the AFC East? Since we've already discussed going on to the AFC East.
We'll just go right on to the AFC East.
Yeah, so only two quarterbacks right now for the AFC East's NFC. I mean, I'm New England Patriots team. New England is starting their second year quarterback, number third overall draft pick last year, Drake May. Uh, so May is still only 22 years old. He'll be 23 though in 4 days, the end of August. But still young for his position, which we at the Power Hour like as our starting quarterback, a young starting quarterback when you draft them. Jackson Dart is also on the youngish end. He's only 22, so he's an average. He's not like a 25-year-old first year quarterback like a lot of these quarterbacks are being drafted after like 6 seasons as a starter. He's only so Dart is at least of the appropriate age, as is and Drake May's even a little younger, out of North Carolina. Um, he May ended up starting 12 games last year for the Patriots, 3-9 record, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 88.1 quarterback rating, 421 rushing yards though he added. So he's kind of like a mini Josh Allen type. So maybe I think that's what the Patriots are hoping to get out of Drake May as a Josh Allen type of player. You hope he becomes more like Josh Allen, less like Daniel Jones, who also maybe is a comp to Drake May. Um,
He's already kind of shown the injury proneness, though, right? Didn't he take a concussion last season? Almost play on the sideline, and I think he missed some games for injury.
yeah, he did in week 8 go down as he missed a few games. He only started 12 games, so he missed a few games. He had his he made his debut in week 3. So he was the backup to Jacoby Brissett at the beginning of last year. So
Yeah,
um, he maybe only missed a game, I think, or two after he got started playing.
yeah.
But yeah, he did get a bit of an injury last year. And then the backup quarterback is professional backup quarterback Joshua Dobbs. who is still only 30 years old, even though he seems like he's been in the league forever. Uh, Dobbs, of course, has played for the Steelers, the Jaguars, the Steelers again, the Browns, the Lions, the Titans, the Browns again, the Cardinals, the Vikings, the 49ers, and now the Patriots. So he's working on a Josh Johnson-esque career, bouncing around from organization to organization. He's played for 9 NFL teams already. Do you think he'll be able to catch Josh Johnson in terms of number of teams played? Will he get to the 14 mark, or will he sputter out around 10 or 11?
If he does anything like he played for three different teams last season. So,
2023, he played for 3 different teams.
oh, okay, it was 1 year earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he has another year like that, I mean, he'll catch pretty quick. I mean, that's going to take very long.
He actually played for 3 different teams 2 years in a row. 2022, he
Okay.
played for the Browns, the Titans, and then the Browns, the Lions, and the Titans. And then it was the Browns, the Cardinals, and Vikings the next year. So
Yeah, because
uh,
I thought he like play for the Cardinals in like one week and then
was
started for the
traded the next
Vikings
week and
like
played for the Vikings. Yeah.
like he picked up a playbook and is like, all right, I
Yeah.
got this. And that's
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome, man. I
Yeah,
think.
Dobbs is supposed to be a very smart guy, aerospace engineer when he was
Yeah.
at Tennessee. So um, he wanted to be an astronaut when he was younger. But he's only 3-12 though as a starter. 17 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 78.1 quarterback rating in his career. But again, if you have to start somebody without really any preparation, it seems like Dobbs is maybe the guy to get. So, but it still leaves it's only 2 quarterbacks, so maybe you do want a third quarterback, especially because you don't know what you have in May, and you don't have a guy with a lot of starting experience in Dobbs, but maybe somebody who's got a lot of knowledge. So maybe you do want to bring in somebody like Tommy DeVito to New England if that's possible. Or maybe you bring back Bailey Zappi. And he's released by the Chiefs, of course. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens with that. Um,
Do you think they'd pull the New York guy down into the New England area though? Do you think the New York Boston rivalry is going to be able to handle having Tommy Cutlets
yeah,
as
I
a
think.
backup?
Yeah, well, if so many former Red Sox become Yankees, it seems like Wade Boggs, Johnny Damon, um, all sorts of. It seems like a lot of
You can
Roger
go
Roger
back. You can go
Roger
back a lot
Clemens,
further too.
Roger Clemens, of course, Babe Ruth originally. Uh, yeah, so that seems to happen.
Famously,
Yeah,
yes.
the Curse of the Bambino. Um, yeah, so it seems like that it happens. It goes that way a lot. I guess it probably goes the opposite way, but I can't think of any early Yankees that became Red Sox. Can you?
Yeah, it usually does go the other way, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
the more notably seems to go that way, right? Yeah,
Well, I guess it's because the Yankees usually pick up players in their prime, and the other teams
right.
develop players. Is kind of historically how it's worked.
But then Boston has become sort of the Yankees model where they tend to
Yeah.
go after players because they're another, wealthier club. So they have a tendency to do the same kind of things that the Yankees do. So yeah, trading back and forth would be a little surprising unless they just like they're stealing each other's free agents. But usually when they sign a free agent, they tend to lock them up for a long period of time until
Hmm.
they're just like sort of done with them. Or like Boston would do, they'd sign people for an incredibly long period of time, and then they'd have to have like the Dodgers bail them out by taking on all those like ridiculous contracts and like remember the Adrian
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez
Yeah.
deal because he had like some hundreds of millions of dollars left in his contract, and like the team was like not really viable, I think, at one point, and then the Dodgers took all those contracts, and then they declared,
Mhm.
or then there was that like the divorce between the owners, and then the Dodgers organization like collapsed and had to rebuild. Yeah, it was a crazy time, right, for the weird contracts in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah.
but
But
anyway, we're off topic.
we're off topic. That's okay though, Dr. Scaff. We were always allowed to tangentially go wherever wherever we think we should, wherever our fancy takes us, we can follow. But we'll go back to the NFC, to the AFC East. Maybe we should go to another team that only has 2 quarterbacks. Uh, the Buffalo Bills, whose quarterbacks in some ways are mirror images of uh, New England's quarterbacks, we have, we said that Drake May is kind of a Josh Allen light. Well, Josh Allen is the Josh Allen of Buffalo, so he's
He's his
former
own comp.
he's his own comp. Yes, he's coming off an MVP season last year. Uh,
That he
he
shouldn't have won. You
he
mean,
probably it probably should have been Lamar Jackson or Mahomes probably because he had a better record and had nobody to throw to really. Uh,
yeah.
but Josh Allen did it 28 touchdowns, only six interceptions. Uh, and he also rushed for another 12 touchdowns last year. So a very good season. Uh, yeah, he really cut down the interceptions list past year. He probably had his best year in 2020 though, when he had 37 touchdowns, only 10 picks, 177.2 quarterback rating. Uh, who won the MVP in 2020? Uh, oh, that was Aaron Rodgers who won the MVP in 2020.
Mm.
Uh, and Rodgers that year uh, had 48 touchdowns and only five interceptions. So that makes sense why he won the MVP that year. He had a great regular season. Uh, yeah, he followed that up with a 2021 MVP season with 37 touchdowns, only four interceptions. So that was when Rodgers was really lighting it up as the kind of great regular season quarterback that he was. But then he would fade in the playoffs. Um,
And his team would make ridiculously stupid decisions that cost them potentially
yeah,
games.
yeah. But
That
anyway,
doesn't help either.
but yeah. But back to Josh Allen, great quarterback. He's been also not, pretty much he hasn't had any injury history these past several years either. So he's been very durable despite his willingness to throw himself into harm's way. Uh, he's been fairly successful in the playoffs, although when he runs into Patrick Mahomes, he's seems to his teams seem to just not come up inches short. He still has a 7-6 record in the playoffs, above 500 record, which is better than a lot of quarterbacks, and 101.7 career quarterback rating in the playoffs. Uh, so he's thrown for 25 touchdowns, only four picks in the playoffs. He's rushed for another seven touchdowns. So he's had a very solid uh, if you count playoff season in terms of his stats, but yeah, he's been unable to win the really big game. Usually that game has come against the Chiefs. But hopefully he want for the Bills fans. Hopefully he gets over the hump. But as Chiefs fans, we of course do not want him to get over the hump uh, anytime soon. Uh, so
Yeah.
uh, Josh Allen though is backed up by also former Mahomes rival Mitchell Trubisky, who was, of course, drafted in the first round, second overall uh, in 2017 draft, the year that Mahomes was drafted 10th overall. It's the second quarterback taken. Uh, Mitchell Trubisky was taken as the first quarterback by the Bears. He's been with the Bears uh, was the Bears for 4 years, with the Bills in 2021 as their backup, and then with the Steelers for 2 years as kind of a backup starter combo, and now back with the Bills as a solid backup again. So he seems to be content to be a backup now in the NFL. 31 and 26 career record as a starter, 74 touchdowns, 48 interceptions, 86 quarterback rating. So pretty solid. This is his second year again. I guess this will be his third year now in Buffalo. Um, but solid backup. Maybe not, certainly not the upside that Josh Allen brings, but similar type of quarterback, kind of bruising runner, decent thrower. Um, and the Bills got rid of their third quarterback, Shane Buechele, who of course was formerly the Chiefs' third quarterback, but went to Buffalo because he got mad that he got cut by the Chiefs. Now he's of course been cut by the uh, Bills, and he might end up on the practice squad or he might not. Who knows what will happen with Mr. Buechele? But that is the Bills quarterback room. Only two quarterbacks there, so maybe do you think they're going to add a third, or are they fine with Allen and Trubisky?
My assumption will be that they'll end up with Bouchel on the practice squad because he did go 25 for 30 for 278 yards and a touchdown in the final preseason game. So those are pretty good numbers, but I would assume he's going to still be there in some capacity,
Hmm.
or someone else will try to, poach him away anyway. But uh, yeah, Josh Allen, not one of my favorite players at all. So I'm just going to stay a little bit quiet, I think, on him, so I don't say anything too crazy.
Well, let's move on then to the Miami Dolphins, where we have Tua Tagovailoa coming in as the starting quarterback. Um, Tua, of course, is the kind of anti-Josh Allen in terms of injury proneness. He's been injured most of his NFL seasons one way or another. He did play all 17 games in 2023, but of course he's had a history of concussion, high profile concussions, also a devastating hip injury his final season at Alabama. So he's been injured quite a bit, but he's a very good quarterback when he's actually playing. Uh, Career record of 38 and 24 as a starter, so that's also very solid when he's playing. He has a good, his team wins. Um, he has a 97.9 career quarterback rating, 100 touchdowns to 44 interceptions, so solid numbers. He's throwing to great receivers in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Um, he's got a lot of upside, but again, he has the fragility, injury proneness. So you would think that the Dolphins would want to have a very strong backup behind him. Wouldn't you think so, Dr. Scaff?
You would think, yes. Is that not the case?
Well, it could be the case if you think Zach Wilson will turn it around. Uh,
Hmm.
Well, you seem skeptical. So, of course, Zach Wilson, a very tight, highly touted number two pick overall in 2021, 3 years with the Jets, last year with the Broncos, this year with the Dolphins. So again, maybe Wilson will be another Sam Darnold, another kind of failed Jets quarterback, highly touted draft pick who will become a solid quarterback in the NFL at some point. Maybe.
You could think that.
12 and 21 record as a starter. He didn't play at all last year when he was behind Bo Nix on the depth chart. But yeah, only a 73.2 career quarterback rating, 23 touchdowns, 25 interceptions. So, maybe, but again, Wilson seems like a step back, but maybe, he was somebody at one point saw a lot in Zach Wilson. So maybe he can
True.
still develop that. Again, also maybe in Miami, where you have Coach Mike McDaniel, who came from San Francisco, where Shanahan um, can develop. Kyle Shanahan can develop quarterbacks. Just about any of from just about anywhere. It seems like he's turned Brock Purdy into a very solid NFL quarterback. Maybe Mike McDaniel can do the same for um, Zach Wilson. And
I
behind Zach
mean,
Wilson is also, yeah.
well, as with that receiving core, I mean, you don't really have to be like the perfect passer. Like you kind of just have to throw it over the back of the defense, and you'd be able to have a chance, right, with those receivers.
Yeah.
And they have a pretty dynamic running game too, so that's also helps take some of the pressure off the quarterback.
Yes. And the Dolphins do have a third quarterback in the quarterback room. That's Quinn Ewers, who they drafted this past year in the seventh round, former Texas quarterback who was very solid as the quarterback for Texas, although everybody at Texas wanted Arch Manning to become the new quarterback. But Quinn Ewers led the Longhorns into the college football playoff, uh, and he did fairly well in his first season of the SEC. Um, but yeah, 11 and 3 record as a starter last year, 31 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Not a running quarterback. He had negative 82 yards rushing. Most of those probably were kneel downs, but still not very many yards rushing. So he's not really a mobile guy. None of the Dolphins quarterbacks. Tua maybe at one point was a kind of running quarterback when he was in college, but he has again, he's so injury prone now. He needs to stay in the pocket. where else or he needs to learn how to fall or something. Um, but yeah, so yeah,
Another younger guy though, or is Quinn Ewers sneaky old?
Quinn Ewers is 22, so he's age appropriate.
Yeah, we seemed like we covered all the older, you know, early year NFL quarterbacks earlier in our show, didn't we?
Yes. And Zach Wilson is still only 26 years old. He does turn 26 in August, so he's been
So he's
around
younger
for,
than some of those rookies.
yeah, he's as young as some of the rookies, basically.
Seems crazy
Yeah.
because he was a starter, lost a starting job, was replaced, then had to come back in and for an injured starter, and then gone to another team, and now here in the time that it took for some of these guys to like get to the NFL.
Yeah,
Right, yeah,
he did.
there's a lot of routes to
A lot
being
of
an NFL
reps.
quarterback, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And that leaves us with only one team left to discuss, and that is the New York Football Jets. I guess technically they are. Uh, they've had
Technically,
a lack of success uh, for the last several years. I don't know if I guess even the Giants have made the playoffs at least somewhat recently. The Jets, I don't think have since I don't know when was the last team to make
ooh, I think it's been a while. Yeah,
the last Jets made the last made the playoffs after the 2010 season. So it's been more than 15 years now. 15, or I guess it's been 15 years now since the Jets have made the playoffs. That's a long time for the NFL to not make the playoffs. It's a long time for any sport, but for the NFL especially, it seems like it's so easy to make the playoffs at least once in a while. You just kind of luck into it. You win your division sort of freakishly, although they've had good division. They've had the Patriots and then the Bills now to compete in the division, but still, you think there's one, you can still win at least one fluky title here or there, or make a wild card run or something like that in 15 years. But yeah, it's been 15 years since they made the playoffs. Um, do you,
that it is the longest active by double
yeah.
any other team in the NFL.
Do you think?
Are you surprised that's it's that far?
I guess so. Yeah,
That
yeah.
no other team has been more than 7 years
Yeah, even the
actively.
Browns are making the playoffs every once in a while. Even
Right.
the Cardinals, the Jaguars, the Lions. Now the Lions are pretty good, but these teams that are historically some of the dregs are at least making the playoffs every once in a while, every few years at least. The Titans are making the playoffs every once in a while. They have a good year. Uh, they made the AFC Championship game just 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like the Bengals historically have been bad, but at least making the playoffs a lot. With Burrow, made the Super Bowl.
To the
Uh,
Super Bowl,
it's
yeah.
hard to think of a team that hasn't had at least one good season the past several years.
Yeah, there's only two at 7 year drought, and then it's three
Who
teams at 4 year
who
droughts
who
as
are the
well.
two at seven? Is Carolina?
Uh, Carolina is one. Do you want me to
Hmm,
give you a chance to guess, or do you want me to tell you?
it's not New Orleans, I don't think.
They're at four.
They're at four. Um, yeah, who's the other one at seven?
You're in the right division even.
Oh, is it? The Falcons haven't made the playoffs for a while since their Super Bowl collapse. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's so weird that the three of those top five are NFC South teams. So it's basically just the so the I guess it's been a lot of not Patriots, a lot of Buccaneers division wins, and then only one
Yeah,
team.
the last several years they've been there, yeah. Well, they seem to like, go for pick up decent quarterbacks when they need to, right? And Tom
Yeah,
Brady, Baker Mayfield, yeah.
yeah. Well, do you
Basically
think?
the same player, right? Those two?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think the Jets have picked up a good quarterback in Justin Fields as their current starter. He's had some good seasons. He's still a fairly young guy. He's only 26 years old. He's played, this is going to be his fifth season in the NFL. So he had 3 years in Chicago. Last year, he started out with Pittsburgh. He had a 4-2 record as a starter, 93.3 quarterback rating last year. He's thrown for 45 touchdowns to 31 interceptions. He's rushed for another 2,500 yards, 19 touchdowns. So he's a very good running quarterback. Maybe he's more of a runner still than a passer. That also leads though to injuries being a running quarterback. So he's had his share of injuries, but not maybe more than an average player. He's not Tua, I don't think, in terms of injury proneness, but still, a running quarterback is more likely to be hurt than a pocket passer, I think. Um, but so Justin Fields is the starting quarterback, former Ohio State star. Uh, And then we have Tyrod Taylor, longtime veteran, as the probably primary backup quarterback, former 2011 sixth-round pick out of Virginia Tech. Uh, he played for the Ravens, the Bills, the Browns, the Chargers, the Texans, the Giants, and now the Jets. And I think when he plays, Tyrod is pretty good. He's had some bad luck with injuries as well. But he's a 28 and 28 in one career record as a starter, 88.9 career quarterback rating, 68 touchdowns to 29 interceptions. So he's got, he started, a few years for Buffalo, hasn't been a full-time starter since 2017, but he's played pretty well everywhere he's gone. So I think he's a solid backup quarterback behind um, Justin Fields. And then we have an interesting third quarterback, uh, Brady Cook for the Jets. Do you know Brady Cook? Do you remember him?
No, should I remember him?
Well, he was undrafted free agent this year out of Mizzou. He was former Missouri
No.
Tigers starting quarterback. He's 23 years old. He'll be 24 in October. So a little bit on the older age spectrum, but he's been the Missouri Tigers quarterback for the last 3 years as their primary starter. Um, 49 touchdowns, 15 interceptions over those years. Only threw 11 touchdowns and last year though, but he only threw 2 picks. Also a decent running quarterback, but his best year were in 2022 and 2023. He wasn't so great. He had a good record last year, but he wasn't asked to do a whole lot as a starter. Um, as a quarterback, he mainly had a running team, I think. But anyway, he was kept as the third quarterback, which surprised me a little bit. Undrafted free agent. I don't think any other team would have put him on the active roster. Do you?
Well, it looks like he was also released.
Oh, was he released? It
He
still
was
says
another waive to release player.
it was. Oh, it still says he's on the Jets on the Wikipedia page.
Maybe they've already announced that he'll be in the practice squad. I don't. I'm not sure how some of that works, but he's listed on the waived or released list. Ray Cook.
Let's
Yeah.
see. Yes, he is cut loose by New York just now, they said. So he did lose his spot. So he was in the final roster move ahead of the deadline. So they must have kept him for a little while and then
Hmm.
released him. So Brady Cook is probably on waiver. So then only two quarterbacks then in New York. So you have Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields, which I think is probably fine. And then they have a developmental spot. So, um, but yeah, maybe the Jets are a landing spot for Tommy Cutlets as well.
Keep him in New York, but just go to the other
Yeah.
different locker room, I guess.
Yeah, same building.
Right. Yeah.
Gets to stay in Jersey.
Yeah. How do you think they do that? Do they share a locker room then, or do they have two different locker rooms or they have three locker rooms for teams that share? Do you think they only want to have their own space, right?
Yeah, no, each so it says that MetLife Stadium, there's a layout includes a locker room for the Giants, one for the Jets, and two additional locker rooms designated for visiting teams.
Oh, so there's like an AFC and an NFC locker room.
I guess.
I guess that's weird.
When the games they play each other, both teams use their own respective home locker rooms, not a shared one.
Yeah, that's what you'd think that they'd almost have to have it that way because that'd be weird to switch all the stuff in and out all the
Yeah.
time, right? Yeah,
Yeah, so I bet the Jets and maybe they play the Jets at home on Sunday and Monday night the Giants might play at home, so they can't switch locker rooms out that fast, so they have to
yeah,
um
makes sense.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he might just have to move from like locker room A to locker room B then, right? So within the same building.
Yeah, and it'd probably be equally nice since they're both
Yeah,
staying there, so
maybe that seems like an easier move for the New Yorker instead of going to Boston, playing
yeah.
for the Cats.
We'll have to announce next week, see where Tommy
Yeah,
Cutlets is going. So that's one thing we look forward to next week. Besides the rest of the NFL previews, see where Tommy DeVito is headed uh, next week. So does that signal the end of our quarterback roundup, Dr.
I think
Scaff?
we've done it. I think we've done it. We've
We've
successfully
done it.
completed.
We've done it, and we've also, I guess, have completed now this episode of the Morning Trek Power Hour, I believe, since we've finished the quarterback roundup. We are now ready to move on to next week's episodes of the final NFL preview, our locks of the week, our first locks of the week in terms of our betting schedule, and then moving on to our normal NFL season. Uh, Episodes of the One Track Power Hour, which are some of my favorites to do as we go on um, over the course of the year. But I also like some of those dregs of summer episodes as well when we get into really weird uh, topics. But the NFL ones are always good too. Um, but anything else we should add before we sign off, Dr. Scaff?
There was one piece of sports slash celebrity news that may have just
Oh, we didn't
broken
mention it.
just
Yeah.
before we started this episode, Mike. Did you see the announcement and do you care if
The,
that
Tra- the
Taylor Swift
Travis
did?
the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift engagement announcement. I guess that's a
Yeah,
big deal. So
yeah,
yeah, why not? It's a big announcement. I guess maybe Travis was waiting to make sure he wasn't cut before they made the announcement. I don't think he was in
makes
danger of it.
sense.
Do you think this signals though the end of Kelsey's career? Does this mean it's probably his last season?
Well, I think before the season, he made it sound like he was, but in the off season, he made it sound like it was his last year. And I think he's made kind of comments about maybe not being necessarily his last season. But then again, he has seemingly another career potentially here in like in television or movies. He's had a
Hmm.
lot of appearances in different shows and in movies in the last several years. So I think, that's waiting for him as soon as he decides to devote more time to it. So
Yeah.
that's going to be hard to turn that down. That's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of money without having to do the physical rigors of another NFL season. So I could
Yeah.
see him easily wanting to walk into that if
Yeah,
it's
he's probably
available. Seems like it is.
also has broadcasting probably as an option for him. He's
Yeah.
like Jason has broadcasting stuff now with Amazon. I think Amazon or uh one of the channels.
He was with Monday Night Football, wasn't he?
Oh, was it Monday Night Football? I couldn't remember if it was Thursday night or Monday Night Football. I think it was Monday night. Maybe it was Monday Night Football
I think it was Monday night. Maybe
or
not.
Sunday
Maybe
night
not.
even. I don't. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
on the sidelines now for a lot of the games. Uh,
Yeah. Well, and they have their podcast that they've have like $100 million deal for as well.
yeah, so it seems like
So
they're doing pretty well.
I don't think he's hurting for money. He
No,
can probably do however much work he wants, and he's not necessarily going to have to like, smash into other giant humans playing a sport. So
yeah,
it seems like that would be an easier career path. But
yes,
you don't usually want to leave the NFL until you're done with it, right?
yeah. I guess that's true. You want to get milk every last second that you can out of it. Probably if you're staying healthy at least.
Right.
Uh, but maybe the Super Bowl victory, he might want to go out on top.
that's always what you wonder. Yeah, if they get that one more win, you could see a lot of surprise retirements too. You never know.
Like a Reed retirement, you think, or
It's possible.
yeah,
Probably not Mahomes, but
probably not
some
Mahomes.
some of the other like multi-time Super Bowl winners may
Yeah,
call it good.
yeah,
You just don't know.
yeah. You never know. I guess Chris
Yeah,
Jones, he's still in his prime, but Aaron Donald retired a little bit early, so
yeah,
yeah. Anyway, we won't retire though early. We're retiring for the evening early, not too early. It's
yes.
11:45 Eastern time right now as we end this broadcast. But we'll retire for this week, but return next week all the more invigorated to to begin our NFL season final preview, and then our make our locks of the week when we have our because the week after that, the first games are coming, beginning a week from Thursday. We have the Eagles hosting the Cowboys, and we have the Chiefs and uh, Chargers in Brazil on the Friday, and then we have a full slate of games on Saturday and on Sunday and Monday uh, in the NFL. So that we'll have all those games to look forward to. No buys as of this week, as of yet for a little while. So we'll have 16 games to choose from for our locks of the week. Um, Dr. Scaff.
Famously, one of the most difficult weeks to predict too.
Week
So this
one,
will
yeah, you never
this will
know
be
what's
a
going to
this will
happen
be a
week
tough
one.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
maybe
we,
that's
we
what.
don't expect to go 16-0 on each of our three types of picks in week one.
No.
Week two, maybe, but not week one. Yeah.
Yes. Well, leave those picks until next week. And as always, I am Dr. Michael Werman. He is Dr. Andrew Scaff. We are the Warning Track Power Hour. Please like and or subscribe to our uh, YouTube channel or our podcast, which is available on many different podcast delivery platforms. Also, thanks, Dr. Scott, for remembering the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift news, so we didn't forget that maybe the biggest story of the off season uh, uh, for Chiefs fans and Taylor Swift fans was just that announcement. I'm sure my daughter will be extremely excited to learn about that news. But so. You know, on that note, we at the Warren Truck Power Hour will be we'll see you next time. And until then, we'll wish you a good day.